Welcome to the Cricket Betting Podcast. I'm Ed Hawkins. This is your ultimate betting guide to the fifth and final Ashes Test. We're brought to you by 7bet.co.uk, a fresh sports betting brand that offers such features as early payout, bet builder, betting insights, ACCA boost, and more. Go to 7bet.co.uk and experience world-class betting for yourself. Are we all burned out after an exhausting Ashes series? Not a bit of it. Let's say hello to Paul Krishnamurty and update us on your best bets for 2025, Paul.
Hi, Ed. What are we talking about? Burned out. The SA20 has only just started. We've got loads to go. My best bets are 42.2 in profit.
There you go. And Richard Mann.
Yeah, that's
best bets as well. Doing nicely, and loads of winners to come with anti-post and long-term Ashes series bets.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenge the last 6 months. I'm minus 2.21. Caveat to that is I've got Stark in a couple of markets, top Aussie bowler and player of the series, it's 12 to 1. I've got Brook no century in the series as well, and we're on under 7.5 series tons as well. And after the MCG, that looks well placed. So I'll be in front by the start of 2026. Just how far?
That's all you got to do in this game. Get your nose in front, and if you want to be in front, sign up to our VIP Telegram channel. In the comments below, we are way out in front, plus 7% ROI for the year. So you will win consistently. Those are good, solid returns. What is on this show? We tell you exactly what happens in the fifth Ashes Test at the SCG. We'll be talking team news, pitch report, in plays, player win rates, other nuggets as well. And of course, the best bets for that fifth test come at the end of the show. But let's talk about where we are with the Ashes. 5-0 vouchers are in the bin, Paul, after England won at the MCG. Are we seeing a resurgent England or a tired and jaded Australia, or was it just a complete one-off, which the locals have said it was, of course?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think you really need classifying in that way. I mean, they could have won the first test. They probably should have won the first test, really, where they were. Things went their way, it was a low-scoring match, and this time Australia they bowled Australia out cheap both times. I don't think England have been inferior, clearly. I still think they're inferior. I don't think it really changes anything. I don't think either side is that great, and that probably 3-0 did flatter Australia, an ordinary Australia side, a little bit. I mean, regarding the series score, it just reinforces this perception, this truth that draws are just so rare nowadays in Test cricket. In Australia, I mean, they're going off 12 to 1, 14 to 1 in each matches, but you just think in most of the time they've got absolutely no chance whatsoever. I've had two-day tests. This was unheard of in the past. I mean, I was in the back four results at the start of the series in hope of a draw. Could still win, but it's no value. That wouldn't have been a value position now because that's 7 to 1.
Rich, it's been a poor quality series, hasn't it? I think we said at the start of our series preview, what will be true at the start of the series will not be true at the end, and that is basically proved to be correct. I mean, the sides are not unrecognisable, but significant churn in players. We do have more momentum with the side which has been behind, but I mean, really, if you try to look at it objectively, there's two players who have made the difference, and that is Head and Mitchell Starc, and those two have basically won Australia the series.
Yeah, well, hopefully Stark has anyway when they're handing out the awards next week. That's been key for Australia. I think they've done the basics better with the ball. They've just been able to hit line and length more consistently than England, who have been really poor in that department. Catching doesn't get talked about enough, but Australia have been brilliant in the field, absolutely outstanding. But as you going back to Stark and Head, particularly Head, the batting hasn't been great, Australia's. I mean, Cameron Green's looked really ordinary. Smith hasn't impacted the series. Labuschagne's been a major disappointment. We were ahead of the curve with that one, and it just hasn't worked out. But someone's generally stood up for Australia when they've needed runs at a critical juncture, and quite often it has been Travis Head. Alex Carey would be the other one, and it just hasn't happened with England. They've just kept losing wickets in clusters where Australia might lose two, and then they'll get a partnership, Head, Carey, somewhere, something like that. England have just fallen like a deck of cards, and I suppose it rings true what we've always said: keep the collapse on side with this England side, because my God, extreme unders has paid its way.
Yeah, and that may well be the case again at the SCG. Let's start to look at that. 7bet.co.uk, draw no bet, Australia 8-17, England 6-4. We'll get into it now. Just a reminder, please do sign up to 7bet and support us. They are our sponsor. So if you love the podcast coming every week, we're able to do that because of 7bet.co.uk. So if we can get some sign-ups with them, we can keep coming back every week, which benefits everybody, doesn't it? So there you go. Let's talk SCG and Australia versus England. It's Saturday, January 3rd, 11:30 p.m. start time, live on TNT. I'm tell you what, I might not be surprised. Well, not disappointed to see the back of TNT commentary. That's been a difficult listen in the small hours. 8-11 Australia with Quinbet. 9-4 England with Ladbrokes. Draw is sevens with 888 Quinstar. Priced up and Bresbet. Let's talk teams, and we'll get Richard's view on the teams. This is what I think Australia are going to do. Weatherald and Head, Labuschagne, Smith, Khawaja, Webster coming in for Green, who's been dreadful. Carey, Nisa, Stark, Boland, and Todd Murphy, the spinner. You do need a spinner at the SCG historically. England, Crawley, Duckett, Bethel, Root, Brooks, Stokes, Smith, Jacks, Cast, Tongue, as you were pretty much, of course, and then Potts is going to come in for Gus Atkinson, we think, although Rich may have a view on Fisher, who's been added to the group after Wood's injury. So, Rich, I mean, Australia about to use their 16th and 17 players in the series if Webster and Murphy come in, which is absolutely bonkers and just reinforces this huge missed opportunity by England.
Yeah, you think back to that key session, don't you, on day two in Perth? I mean, how different it could be now. We could be looking at 2-2, and this could be the series of all series, but we're not there. I think you're right with Murphy has to play. I think he's a good bowler, and I think Webster should have started the series. I'm not sold on Cameron Green, and I certainly aren't now. Whether they give him one more go, I'm not too sure. I think Webster playing in the Bash this last week suggests that they certainly want him to be ready to play. As for England, I think your team's spot on. I would personally play Matthew Fisher. I think he's a really good bowler, more upside long term than Potts, but Potts was originally selected on the tour, and it'd be tough luck on him not to play now and be usurped by Fisher. So I suspect Potts will get his go, and I am keen to see him or Fisher, because I'd like to see someone who can just hit top of off stump a bit more consistently. That's all they did at the MCG. Josh Tongue and Stokes. They just bowled old-fashioned line and length, and surprise, surprise, it worked.
Right, Paul, this is the test which most people thought would be more vulnerable to weather. A few showers day 2 and 3, but I can't say that there's anything in that long-term weather forecast as we record that means that draw price is going to come in, unless you disagree, or there's any trading to be done on the draw because of that potential for panic in the match odds market, as this was the venue where people were more concerned.
Well, yeah, that would be the idea, the panic in play. I think looking at the long-term forecast, there is a lot of rain around, right? There is, if you look at like most days, there's rain at night or early morning, few hours, there's patchy rain here and there. I don't think they're going to lose a massive amount of time, not enough to get a draw, but they probably will lose some time. And I think we're going to see on-off overcast conditions throughout a lot of the tests. There's going to be a lot of fortune about what time you bat. I wouldn't bat a draw at 7-1. No, that's way too short for me, given that there's no like consistent rain in it. But I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a situation where, let's say on the first day, you'd get 4 wickets in a morning session, draw drifts out to 20-1, something like that, and then you get a bit of rain in the afternoon and it comes back into tens. So you might get a bit of short-term trading like that.
Okay. We've got all the pitch data coming up. I will just talk about sort of the nature of the SCG wicket in relation to what's happened at the MCG, though. Rich, and you can talk about this with some authority. I'm not saying you're a groundsman, but just to point out, the SCG surface is going to be the same as it was, regardless of what happened at the MCG. You can't change the nature of that pitch significantly, can you, within a short space of time? Apart from if you had any plan to leave on some grass, they won't do that now. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, this pitch will have been earmarked months ago as the test pitch. But I think you're right. They may well shave a little bit more grass off it now. Particularly the fact that it might not be red hot as well. They'll hope the pitch can hold together. The Cricket Australia are skint basically, and they don't want another 2-day test. But then, like Paul says, even if we don't get a lot of rain, even if we just get showers, that does suggest overheads. And look, the pitch might play well enough, but the ball might move sideways through the air. So it could still be challenging for batsmen in that respect. And damp as well if the wicket's under covers and the wicket sweats for a couple of hours. And like we've always said, we don't need a lot in these pitches for England in particular to be vulnerable to the moving ball.
Right, SCG pitch, some trend points for you. Last 10, Australia have not lost in those last 10. There have been 5 draws in that period, though. First innings average runs per wicket is 46.1. Fourth innings average runs per wicket is 32.7, which is pretty high, actually, that number for fourth innings. In Sheffield Shield cricket, 2 games this season, some very low all-out scores in those 2 games, 128, 125, 92 and 181. And the same the previous season in just 3 matches. There was only 1 score of more than 277 and all-out scores of 141, 136, 68 and 118. And this is fast, medium pace bowlers, really, and in some cases as well, some medium dibbly dobblers doing some damage this season. Paul, what do you reckon to some of these numbers?
I think we look at another low-scoring game. I think that reinforces what I really thought. I mean, there wasn't, in the last 2 tests at Sydney, there was no ton scored. That's a 4-1 chance. I think you've got to stick with that again. I think if we get 330, 350 overs played, there's going to be a result. Scott Boland has taken 17 wickets in 2 tests here, which tells you the sort of bowler that's going to do well. I think we're going to get overhead conditions, and I think we could well see. It's very possible we'll see 4 sub-200 scores again.
Rich,
what you got in plan for the pitch?
Yeah, I agree with Paul. Actually, I think that's about right. Even if it looks a better pitch than what we had at the MCG, as I've said, you don't need a lot for England in particular to find conditions tough with batting. Seamers have obviously done the business. The other factor is, well, what intensity will both sides have? I felt like last week England scaled the mountain at the MCG, try and get that first win in 15 years, and they've done that. But the series is gone now. They've got the win. Will they be able to reach the same intensity again? Archer's gone home, Atkinson's gone home. Those Seamers, Tongue going to play three in a row. That's a big ask for him. Castle will be playing 5, and it's the same with the Australians as well. Stark's been fantastic, but what a workload he's had. I just wonder if you might see some poor cricket this week, to be honest. Some tired minds, some tired legs. And I always just think in that instance you can get some crazy outcomes. And again, I'm just thinking extreme unders. Why not?
Okay, let's talk match winner then. If the MCG was a leveler, SCG could well be the same, Paul. So surely England the value again?
No, I don't think so. I think 8-11 Australia is good value. You said it yourself there, just no, Australia haven't lost in 10 at the SCG. I'm looking at Boland in particular, Stark as well, to do a great deal of damage. I don't trust our bowlers to do it 2 games in a row, to be honest with you. I think just everything we've seen in this series, 8-11 is a perfectly fair price for Australia.
Okay, Richard, who wins the match?
I do agree with Paul, but I wouldn't be interested at, what is it, 1.69 on the exchange. I think this is perfect for Paul's strategy though. His test match strategy that he puts in the free channel, about trying to get increased odds on both results. Hard to see it being a draw. I could see the draw shortening, of course, because the market is spooked by bad weather, but ultimately I think we'll get a result, and I think you might just get some bigger prices if you're prepared to trade.
Paul Krishnamurty, let's talk about in-play strategies, and the patented system worked perfectly at the MCG. Presumably you roll it out again here.
Yeah, it's been good series. 3 winners out of 4, and the one that lost, it was only the outsider that got matched, so it wasn't a disaster. So the orders here would be to back Australia at around 2.4 and to back England at about 5.6 to return the same. Yeah, I mean, it is the perfect scenario, really, because especially with, as we're discussing, the potential for the draw to start shortening. Like, I've got a feeling that when this kicks off, because I set these prices on what the starting price is. I think when this kicks off, the draw will be much bigger than 8, personally. Could be double that, right? But then there is that potential that a shower comes in or a good partnership comes in the morning and it collapses a bit and you get one or both matched quite quickly.
All right. Rich, anything else to add on terms of what happens in the game?
Yeah, a couple of shout outs to you because you've been talking about Route LBW in play, and we got one up at the MCG. And I actually think Sydney could be ground as well because I've always felt you get a little bit lower bounce, so keep an eye on the LBs. We've had Crawley stumped already, but Lyon's gone, so just a shout out to us. We did get those ones right. It just collapse on side. I've mentioned it. And especially with Weather Watch, even England at Leeds last year, it was a flat pitch, that one, wasn't it? But they went from 398 in the first innings to 465 all out. At Lords last summer, really good weather, but they went from 260 for 4 to 387 all out. And then at the Oval, weather was indifferent, but pitch was okay. 92 for 0, 247 all out. And that was all around when the clouds rolled in, apart from at Lords, where, frankly, I'm not quite sure what happened. It was just bummer, I suppose. But when the weather rolls in and the ball starts doing a bit, England are just brilliant for extreme unders, keep the collapse on side. I know I'm banging the drum that we've banged so many times before, but I just think this series has shown again that that's the way.
Okay, 0%
Yeah, listen,
margin.
can I just jump in there? Sorry. You've got to bang that drum about the runs. Got to keep banging it because the truth is the market's wrong. You've seen this in virtually every inning so far, right? Where never mind the in running and the overreaction in running, but the par line has started way too high for both teams in innings after innings. I think there was that one innings where England got a massive recovery at the end and turned us over on the in play and they got 325 or something. That's the only England one that's gone overs. And there was one Australia that's gone overs. But then if you took last week, I mean, Australia par and we all identified we weren't doing anything particularly clever in saying this is a green pitch and it's going to be low runs. Australia runs started at like 340 in places, things like that. And England's at 240, 250. It's just too much. And then all it takes is like a partnership of 10 or 20, and the thing goes up 20 or 30. It's crazy.
Crazy indeed. Also crazy indeed is your 0% margin feature at 7bet Sportsbook. The feature at 7bet is designed to offer betting odds that do not include the typical margin added by the bookmaker. Check out more of their features on 7bet.co.uk/features. We've got the best bets coming at the end of the show, but we want to talk player bets now. We'll do Australia first for top Aussie first things bat and bowler. And this is where I moan about the absolutely pitiful win rates available to us. Really dreadful. And I was talking about it last week, but just some numbers for you. Labuschagne winning 15.7% last 2 years. Steve Smith, the supposedly great Steve Smith, wins 10% of the time last 2 years. Head's only at 18%. And in terms of win rate versus price, there's only Alex Carey is winning at 18%, 17-2, Bet3, 1.65. I mean, Bo Webster is someone who has had a couple of wins, I think from his 7 tests or something like that. But I mean, that's no study sample, but he might be an option for you given the paucity of value around. Top bowler Stark 23-10 with Paddy Power Betfair Sportsbook, but he's winning 27% of the time, so there's no joy there in terms of an edge. And this is his least productive ground in terms of strike rate and average, the SCG. So potentially Nisa a shout for back-to-back wins, but Rich, you probably want to talk about Scott Boland.
Yeah, absolutely. Boland with the ball anyway. 10 wickets here last year against India. I think he averages 8 on this ground. And I just think he's bowled really well in this series, probably without the results that his efforts deserve. He hasn't had that massive haul yet. You would think that would change. I must stress before we get to best bets, me and Paul have had an arm wrestle over Boland this week, so you will see who's won out on that one. With the bat, I'm really frustrated. I mean, like, I put Nisa up in Perth, he didn't play, and I put Nisa up at the Gabba, he did play and didn't win. And obviously, I didn't put him up last week, and he did win. Really, really frustrating. But he's obviously interesting if we think it's going to be low scoring. But you know what? The one who stands out for me is Khawaja, and bear with me here. One, we said at the start of the series he was in big trouble. But that was when he was opening against Archer and Wood and all England's pacers. But Archer, Wood and Atkinson have gone home now. Tongue can obviously get it through, as can Cast, but like I say, they're going to be playing the 5th and 3rd games in a row. That's a big ask. They could be leg weary. And obviously, Kawaja's protected in the middle order now, and he played well at Adelaide in particular. Even his 29 at the MCG was probably worth about 70 on that pitch. And he's got a brilliant record here 9 tests, 4 tons, averages 50. He's 13-2 with start, and I just think, given where he's batting, he's probably the one for Australia for me. Talk about this being his last test as well, so he'd be obviously keen to do well. I suspect it'll definitely be his last test at home. I think they'll probably want him on that. There's an tour to India coming up. They'll definitely want him there, but he just looks the one for me because, as you just pointed out, Ed, there's holes in so many. bar Travis Head and Alex Carey, all the big guns who are taking up the market, they're questionable.
Yeah, Webster, by the way, 15-2, 7-bet. Boland, top Australia first innings bowler, 12-5, 7-bet. Paul, who do you like?
Well, let's add to what Rich was just saying. Listen to this statistic. So, in the last 5 years at Sydney, 8 out of the 18 top bat winners, a pretty high percentage, have batted at either 5 or 6. Yeah. So, there's another case for Khawaja. But I'll also add to that. I mean, look, the odds have come down, but 17-2 Carey is wrong. Like, he's clearly like in the top 3 at least batsmen in that side, and the top order is no value. And I've got to add as well, I mean, I've got to go with Webster if he's going to play, because not only has he won a couple of times, if you look through his efforts in those 7 tests, he's come second or come very close to winning several times as well. So those 3, some sort of combination out of Khawaja, Carey, Webster is the value. I've also got to go in again. It's already landed once. Alex Carey, most Australia 6s in the first innings at 10-1. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. Look at his average. It's the best in the side or the second best ahead, and they're a long way ahead of the rest.
Okay, let's talk about Webster. I've done him a disservice there, disgraceful on my part. 3 wins in 7, actually, which is which is bonkers. And also those wins, I think they came in. Certainly, a couple came in West Indies, didn't they? Went on those. They were really tough pitches, and he was making his debut in that series, I think, and he really dug in well, actually. A Khawaja win rate is 14%, so we need sort of 6-1. I think Khawaja to get involved. I sort of might get that sort of in play. I'm just looking now as I speak about whether we can get 6s on Khawaja for top Australia. But I certainly agree with Richard Mann about the sort of emotional hedge. I'm often wary of sort of such rationale, but Khawaja is definitely one of those types of players who will sort of dig in for the tears, so to speak. We get 13-2, Star Sports. There you go. Top Australia back Khawaja. So that is actually value on win rate. So we've got there in the end. Let's talk about England and more dreadful numbers. Very similar story, apart from it being considerably worse. Look at these numbers. Duckett, 7% first innings win rate last 2 years. Stokes, 4.5%. You've got Crawley and Smith both at 21%. You can get sevens with Crawley, Betfred Star Sports. I wouldn't want to be on Crawley, though, however, on a pitch that does something. Smith is 11s with Betfred. Root wins 26% of the time. In the second innings, sorry, I've messed up my numbers. 26% of the time, second innings, 22% in the first. You get 29 to 10 bet Victor, nothing doing. Tongue, 5-2 top bowler, Sky Bet Power, Betfair Sportsbook. Richard, players to follow.
Yeah, well, I initially looked at Root for a 50. I'm just looking at the prices now. I think it was about 11 to 5 because I've always fancied that this is a good ground for him. His first test here, he made a couple of 50s. No good on the last tour, but just a little bit lower bounce here. It's a little bit more like England, and I've always felt you can get away with that ride down to third man more. And obviously, I don't have a lot of faith in the rest of them. I think probably with Root, I would probably just back him top England bat both innings because he's so good in, as Zed keeps pointing out, in the second innings. I just think his class will win out, and I'm not bothered about him at the end of a long tour because he's just proven to be so consistent, so dialed in. Tongue, top England bowler, he's the one. I'm really frustrated. Actually, I didn't put him up last week, having been keen on him in Adelaide, but he's an incredible wicket taker. You know his strike rate now is a nudge below 40. I think Anderson's was in the 50s, Broad's was in the 50s. It's better than Jofra Archer's strike rate. I think he's completely underrated, to be honest, Josh Tongue, and he'd be the one again for all I'm loath to go in, having missed the boat last week.
Paul.
Yeah, hard agree. Josh Tongue, great value. Again, likewise, really a bit annoyed I didn't get involved last week on him.
I think we mentioned him man of the match, didn't we, Paul? Or is that have I made that? I'm sure we mentioned his man of the match price at the end.
He might have got mentioned, yes.
Strong words.
But didn't. Yes. Well, again, here he's 18 to 1 for man of the match. Crazy price, considering what he's just done. Right. And I mean, these man of the matches, very often, when you look through them, it's the same group of players who win it regularly. Travis Head won so many man of the match awards, it's unbelievable. But so Tongue, for me, man of the match 18 to 1. And also, look, not all the firms are out with this yet, but at the moment you can get, I think, 23 to 20 best on him getting 3 wickets or more in the first innings. I'll be having some of that. For the top bat, again, I go back to this like middle order thing, 5 and 6 doing really well. So you'd have to look at Brook and Stokes for that. But having said that, again, 11 to 1 about Smith is a bit of an eye-catching price.
Okay, just to finish up, any bits and bobs? I mean, shorting somebody like Bethel's runs. Rich, we haven't really mentioned him coming into the side. I'm not convinced at all by him because he's a one-day player, or other players to pick on if it's doing bits and pieces.
Well, I just think a general thing. Look, I've been against Brook, so I would, if he gets in early enough, I'd still be against him. I kind of went low last week, but just not low enough. Poor tour for Duckett as well. I mean, look, he'd have been a safe unders play all the way through, and Jake Weatherald as well. Big test for him, and he had one score, hasn't he? Really, so they'd probably be the 3. But
yeah, Paul. Anything else to add before we go to best bets?
Well, look, all the odds aren't out yet, so do keep an eye on the VIP, both the free and VIP channels, because we'll put these up. Now, I love this test match end market. I do. I always go on about this. Looking at it right now, I'd be quite tempted on backing day 4 evening at 13 to 2 and possibly 8 to 1 day 5 morning. Simply because I think there will be a bit of rain, there will be a few delays, and so day 4 evening might effectively be day 3 evening.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to best bets. Both Paul and Richard have got 5 units to spend. Let's go to Richard Mann first this week.
Yeah, I did reference that me and Paul have had an arm wrestle over Scott Boland, so if he comes good at it, he'll have to take some credit. But I'll kick off 2.5 points. Scott Boland over 114.5 player performance points. 5 to 6 with Bet365. And then 1.25 points, Usman Khawaja, top Australia first innings bat at 13 to 2 with Star Sports. And then 1.25 points, Joe Root, top England first innings bat at 7 to 2 general, I think.
Right. If you like the best bets and you like the cricket betting podcast, do sign up to 7bet.co.uk so we can keep producing these pods every week. And if you do sign up to 7bet, you can get a £10 free bet with the promo code WFB10 on your first deposit, minimum £10 stake, £10 free bet, minimum odds even money, maximum winnings £100, 5-day expiry, bonus T's and C's. Podcast by signing up with 7bet because if we don't have our sponsors, then we won't be here every week. And as you know, the cricket never stops. Here's something that doesn't stop as well as Paul Krishnamurty with his 5 units on his best bets, please.
Okay, so I have 1 point, no ton in the match at 4 to 1. That's with Bet365. Again, check the channels because we might get some better prices as more odds come out for all of these. So 1 point on that. I'll split a point on man of the match, half a point Scott Boland at 11 to 1. That's with MGM and 365. And half a point Josh Tongue at 18 to 1, which is with Bet365. I'll have 1.5 points on Josh Tongue to get over 2.5 wickets in the first innings. That is at least 23 to 20 with live score Bet MGM. And then I'll split a point, top Aussie bat, Bo Webster and Alex Carey. I think we've got 8 to 1 and 17 to 2 there. And finally, half point, Alex Carey, most Australia first innings sixes, 10 to 1 with Bet365.
There you go. That has been the Cricket Betting Podcast, telling you exactly what happens in the 5th Ashes Test at the SCG. This is our final show of 2025, so we do wish you a happy new year. We will be back in the new year, of course. Don't forget to sub up to that VIP channel in the comments below with 7% ROI. We're going to finish the year well in profit, and we will be in play for the Ashes. And of course, providing bets for the Big Bash, the SAT20, ILT20 still going on. So we're across it all, and we'll see you next time on the Cricket Betting Podcast.